your app. I know, that's crazy. And it's kind of wild to me that a lot of app developers really don't focus as much time on it as they probably should. There are a lot of elements within the page that are important to concentrate on so that when merchants are looking to install your app, they understand who you are, what you offer, who you're used for, how your app is better than your competition or how it's different than your competition, and why they should be using your app instead of your competition. So there's various elements on the page, and it's really important to make that impression. At the top with your App Store images, you have a collection of images that are to showcase the dream. So you're there to sell the dream on what your app offers and how it's going to benefit merchants. So within those sections, I like to say you want to sell the dream versus selling the reality. Selling the reality is, I'd like to say, just showing a bunch of dashboard images of your app. That's great. It is the reality. We're not trying to sugarcoat it, but really making a visual representation of how it's going to benefit merchants with some really great copy is kind of the best practice that I like to employ when I'm doing app listings. And then throughout the page, you have an opportunity to do the who, what, when, where, why, and how that I talked about last year during my talk, and just talked a little bit about for a second there. So you've got the app listing title, which arguably is one of the most important areas that you can say, hey, this is our mission statement. You're going to increase your AOV with our discount app, and this is how we're going to go about doing it. I would say max out the character limit without keyword stuffing. Merchants can suss that out. They're going to be like, what are they talking about if it's keyword stuffed? And also Shopify is going to look at that and say, what are they doing? So don't do that, but definitely make sure that you make that statement impactful. And then you have the description. So you have an opportunity to really sell them on why your app is different than your competition, how they're going to benefit from it, how they're going to make money, save time, help with their operations, whatever it might be. Again, maxing out that character limit as much as possible without keyword stuffing is the key. Then you have the bullet point section. The bullet point section, I like to say, is best used for your feature set. So again, you have a very short amount of character limits. Start off with, here's the feature, and here's what it does. Here's the feature, and here's the benefit of it. And max out those character limits as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass this over to John, and he's gonna talk about the importance of reviews.
Great, so reviews might be a stinking topic for some folks right now, and that's not something we're gonna cover right now. We have an app growth and an app where we can talk about that more. But as Deb mentioned, you wanna sell the dream, right, with your app listing. And something that merchants really care about is have other merchants actually achieve that dream. And that's where reviews really come into play. They want to see what true experiences are from other merchants. Are they actually getting good value? Are they getting good impact from these apps that they're evaluating? We do a lot of merchant reviews throughout the year, merchant surveys throughout the year, and reviews are always a top consideration. It's just so important to see what other people think about this app. Something that we introduced last year were AI summaries, and it's been a really well-received thing from merchants. Not only does it kind of help cut through the noise of all the different types of reviews that y'all are collecting about your apps, but it's also like a really strong signal of, hey, this app has done a really good job. They have something that's different from the majority of other apps on the App Store, and they're probably in a better state than most other apps that I'm looking at. So one little factoid data point is that only 7% of apps actually have this AI summary. So there's a lot of opportunity there. If you don't have it yet, it's not too late. And if you do have it, it's really a powerful merchandising piece to your app listing. When it comes to getting reviews, my advice there is it's always something you want to consider. I know we removed some reviews, but we're going to ask you to continue to get reviews because the reality is people care about recent experiences with your app. We on the App Store, we know that's an important piece, so we are going to consider recent experiences when it comes to us promoting the App Store. I don't think that's going to be one other tip I'll mention on reviews. Something I'm starting to notice with some of the AI summaries is that a lot of them are about support interactions. I think that's like a very common pattern practice for people to ask for, and that's great. But other things that merchants care about that could show up in the summaries more often would be things about ease of use, about like really key killer features that your apps have, and like other aspects of the experience. So think about like other key moments you could be asking for reviews, whether it's you release this new feature and you want to get some reviews feedback on it, and you can prompt them after they've used your feature for a certain amount of time or power usage of it. But also just thinking about other ways outside of the support interactions to be asking for reviews, because as much as people want to hear about how great your support experience is, and it's very important, they also want to know how good your product is. And I know asking for reviews is probably not like the main reason why you're building an app, right? So it's a hard thing, it's kind of annoying, we don't want to add friction. So something that I can tease to that's coming soon is a new way to request reviews based on user behaviors directly in the admin. So you don't have to like email them asking them to come to the App Store to leave a review. You can do it directly from your embedded app.
Just hit us up with yours, we'll do a demo.
Yeah, we'll have a demo of it. You can check it out. It's not available yet, but it will be soon.
It's pretty cool.
It's hard to miss me. A lot of people are like, there's the girl with the purple hair. How do I get featured in the App Store? Why? Because I am with the team that does App Store. This plant is kind of covering it, but if you are built for Shopify, that QR code is the pitch form. It is actually it's actually linked in your BFS dashboard. It's actually also in the docs. If you look at the App Store reviews that convert to installs, you'll notice a difference in the percentage. It is 20% of App Store reviews converted to installs. The number one thing I tell people, we have thousands of apps in the App Store. Even if I had an army of writers and I published an app every single day for a year, that's only 365 apps. Right now we publish on a monthly schedule of about 4 articles each. So really, I want people to don't think about just like, please feature my app. I want you now, just think about it for yourselves. Who is my app's biggest fan? What kind of merchant are they? What kind of problem are they personally going through where I help them personally? We had an email exchange or something like that. I want you to pitch me your merchant, your best merchant. Why? Because then I'll be considering you for a guide when Shopify publishes new technologies. You might be a merchant tech stack, which helps other merchants come to Shopify and see themselves in apps and in other merchants. And it's also great if you're scrappy using all the tools and already working with merchants to produce that kind of multimedia content, because we are also a really small team. You will meet most of us already just downstairs. People seem to think like our team is really big. It's not. Next slide. So how else can you get featured in App Store? Downstairs in the demo floor, you'll be seeing a lot more of our newest APIs. One of the ways that we plan our editorial calendar is API feature updates and people who are staying ahead and are early adopters of technology so that we can show merchants how apps can help them in these new Shopify feature sets. So get to know those people. Ask the people at the booths, like, how do I get access to these new APIs? Please consider me for a beta program, things like that. And the last thing I will say is be in touch with the news. So obviously there's probably a lot of you who have helped merchants like overcome the whole tariffs thing, cross-border trade, but we also look at merchants' retail calendars. So as much as people are preparing for PFCM, did you know that in January it's the biggest return season? I'm sure all the returns apps in here are like, yeah, no, Katrina. But how do your discount apps think about people who are making returns? How do your, think outside of your own app categories seasonality and look at the seasonality of other people's apps. Like, what are they doing in specific seasons and how can you respond as well? So yeah, timeliness, merchant centricity, and API technologies or other Shopify adoption. Scan the QR. Okay, wait, it's also in your BFS dashboard.
Well, the other benefit of that is that I'm sure you guys have noticed this, especially if you've been featured in these guides, is it shows up on your app listing as well. So it's another area of credibility and social proof to say, hey, we were chosen to be a part of this guide, or look at the merchant that we work with that's benefiting off of our app because it's being featured in a guide that they've read on our App Store listing page. So if you're not at least submitting an option to be on there, then you're kind of leaving some money and opportunity on the table. Not trying to give them extra work, but.
All right. Shall we?
Okay.
Picking out the good